What's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? We back with another one. We back with another one. I ain't gonna hold y'all too much long. It's a crazy situation right here, so let's get to it. Let's get to it.
This is entirely a domestic incident. So the suspect shot the mother of the child for children first, then responded to this location and shot 8 children, 7 of which being his own.
To a heartbreaking and horrific mass shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana. 8 children between the ages.
Hold on, man. All right. We back, y'all. My bad. Get back to it.
Of 1 and 14 were killed in what police are calling a gruesome crime scene.
Sunday morning in Shreveport, Louisiana. The sun hadn't come up yet. Most of the Cedar Grove neighborhood was still sleeping. Porch lights on, dogs quiet. A normal weekend. About to turn into the worst day this city has ever lived through. Inside one small house on West 79th Street, 7 little bodies were lying where they'd been all night, tucked into beds, pressed up against cousins and siblings, some still holding on to stuffed animals. None of them were going to wake up. An 8th child, a little boy, tried to make it out. He climbed up on the roof. Whoever put him up there, or whoever he followed up there, thought maybe up high meant safe. It didn't. He got shot on that roof, and his body stayed there until police found him. The oldest was 11, the youngest was 3. And the man who pulled the trigger wasn't some stranger who broke in. He wasn't a burglar.
This man shot the baby on the roof, bruh. Like, what was going on, man? What was going on? For real, what was going on, man? Shot the man on the roof or the back. Wow. Crazy work. Just crazy work.
He wasn't a neighbor with a grudge. He was their daddy. 7 of those babies called him daddy. The 8th was blood too, a cousin, family. Before that morning was over, he'd be dead himself, shot down in another parish after carjacking a stranger and leading police on a chase. His wife would be in a hospital bed with a bullet in her face. His girlfriend would be fighting for her life in the ICU. This is the story of April 19th, 2026. This is the Shreveport tragedy. And we need to talk about how it got to this. To understand that morning, you have to understand Shamar Elkins, or at least who people thought Shamar Elkins was. He was 31 years old, born in Shreveport, raised in Shreveport, known all over Shreveport. From 2013 to 2020, he wore the uniform of the Louisiana Army National Guard. His
Mm.
job titles sound important on
Oh,
paper:
okay.
Signal Support System Specialist, Fire Support Specialist. He never got deployed overseas. He left the Guard as a private, no medals, no combat record. But he wore that uniform for 7 years, and to the people around him, that meant something. That meant discipline. That meant a man who could be counted on. He was a father 7 times over. 3 boys, 5 girls. His life on paper looked full. Church on Sunday, birthdays, school pickups, a house with children's voices in every room. His wife was the mother of most of those kids. Other children came from other relationships: the Pughs, the Snows, the Elkins kids, different last names, but all of them born from him. Cousins in and out of the house. A whole web of little lives tied to this one man. Now the cracks were there. They'd always been there. Back in 2019, Shamar did something that should have been a red flag the size of a highway billboard. He fired a handgun near Caddo Magnet High School. Children were outside. Bullets were going off in the direction of a school full of kids. You'd think that kind of thing would get a man put away. It didn't. He pleaded guilty to illegal use of weapons. The judge gave him 18 months of probation. No
Okay.
prison, no jail, no mandatory treatment. He walked out of that courtroom, went back to his life, and kept raising his children. Let that sit for a second. A man discharged a firearm.
No, yeah, you're right. Let that sit for a second. Because he discharged a firearm and then walked up out of there like didn't nothing happen. He go to jail, didn't get nothing. So how did he end up walking up out of there? It sounds like being part of the army, you got some type of leeway or something like that. Or somebody you can call to get you up out the situation. I don't know. But that do sound a little weird. I'm gonna let her get back to it though, but that off the muscle. Off the muscle, that sound weird, my boy. Real talk.
Near school, and the system looked at him and said, "Stay out of trouble for a year and a half and we'll call it even." 7 years later, those same hands would be used to end 8 young lives. On social media, the picture he painted was a beautiful one. A few weeks before the killings, he posted an Easter photo. Him and his children all dressed up, fresh out of church, Sunday best, little bow ties, little dresses, smiles lined up across the couch. A man who looked blessed.
Now, Dad, let's ask this question: why did they let him go? Like knowing that situation, why did they let him go? Even though it was 7 years later, y'all gave him a year and a half, or whatever it was, to stay out of trouble. He stayed out of trouble for 7 years, then turned around and did this. What did he disarm the gun for? Like what did he blame for? And why y'all let him go? For blame. 5. Let's go. It's crazy work.
Hours before the shooting, hours, he posted again. This time about taking his oldest daughter on what he called a daddy-daughter date, a burger spot, Just the two of them, the kind of post you scroll past 100 times a day and never think twice about. That little girl had no idea. Neither did the internet. But 10 days before that morning, something had shifted. A post went up that hit different. Something about mental health. Something about praying. And not a clear cry for help. Not something you could screenshot and send to 911.
That's why. That's why I said what happened. They didn't even notice I said, "Oh," when they said he was in the army. The man had PTSD, probably mental health. Like when you're in the army, you see a lot of stuff. You see a lot of stuff and a lot. You know what I'm saying? Some people can't handle it or can't deal with it, or it causes mental health issues. So ain't no telling what he might have seen them kids as, and I ain't making no excuses or nothing like that. But he might have saw something that he had seen over in another country when he fought war or whatever, having to shoot kids. He might have had a flashback or something like that. I don't know. I ain't giving no excuses, no rationalization or nothing like that. But it's a reason why he got off for disarming a gun earlier on, 7 years prior. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta look at every aspect of it too.
911. Just a man who sounded tired, sounded low, sounded like he was carrying something heavy and didn't know where to put it down. People scrolled past it. What most of the world didn't see was the rest of it. Shamar and his wife were separating. There was a court date coming up, custody, the formal end of a life they had built together. Anybody who has ever been through a breakup with children involved knows how that kind of timeline works on a person. It winds you up. It backs you into corners of yourself you didn't know existed. For some people, separation is a paperwork process. For others, it becomes a pressure cooker with no release valve.
In this case, I was wrong, but now that leads me to have to be able to read that post that he posted and everybody looked on. But well, that's what she breaking down too. So it's gonna tell me what's in it. So it ain't no PTSD mental health at this point. Well, let's keep watching. I don't want to jump conclusions too fast.
Shamar Elkins was in that pressure cooker. Cedar Grove, where this all happened, I will tell you everything about Shreveport if you know how to read a neighborhood. Working class, quiet, families that have been on the same block since the 90s. One man who lives on that same street, 71 years old, said he's lived there since 1991 and never in his life heard of anything like what happened. Never. Not on that block. Houses sit close together in Cedar Grove. Kids run between yards. You know which car belongs to which neighbor. You hear the music, you hear the dogs, you hear when something isn't right. On the night of April 18th, going into the 19th, that block was doing what every American neighborhood does on a Saturday night. Lights went off one by one. Kids got tucked in. Parents finished their shifts and their dinners and their bedtime stories. Inside that one house on West 79th Street, 8 children were settling in. Soraya Snow, 11 years old, the oldest, the helper. Mark Hayden Pugh, 10. Layla Pugh, 7. Kayla Pugh and Kadarian Snow, both 6. Braylon Snow and Shayla Elkins, both 5. And the baby of the bunch, Jayla Elkins, just 3 years old. 3 years old, a toddler. Still learning her full sentences. 7 of those babies shared a father. One was a cousin. All of them were hours away from being gone. Now, before we get into exactly what happened when the sun came up on that block, do me one favor. If you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell. We tell these stories so that the babies like Jayla and Soraya and Braylon don't become a number. So that the signs nobody caught the first time get caught the next time. Subscribe, share this video with somebody who needs to hear it, and stay with me. Because the next part of this story is the part Shreveport is never going to be able to forget. The last 24 hours of those children's lives looked so normal that nobody could have called it. Nobody. Saturday, April 18th, 2026. Shamar Elkins did what a lot of separated dads try to do when the marriage is falling apart. He leaned into the father thing. Hard. He took his oldest daughter out, just the two of them, and he posted about it online. Daddy-daughter date, burger spot, a hug on camera, some smiles. The kind of post you see.
The way they make it sound, it's like that man was already preparing memories that he could potentially look back on, or family members can look back on and say, you know what I mean? But that's crazy. That's crazy. Crazy work.
See your cousin put up and double tap without a second thought. That same afternoon, the rest of the children were where they always were on a Saturday. Running around the house, watching something on a tablet, arguing over who got to pick the movie. Saraya, the 11-year-old, probably helping the little ones.
Typical stuff for
Jayla,
kids.
3 years old, probably underfoot. Normal Saturday stuff. Shamar and his wife were in the middle of splitting up. The court date was coming. Custody. Who gets what? Who gets the kids when? Every fight you've ever had with a partner when a relationship is dying, they were having. Except with 7 children tying them together. 7 little reasons that separation was never going to be clean. 10 days before that night, Shamar had posted something about his mental health. About needing prayer. The kind of post you see and worry about for a half a second and then scroll past. His friends scrolled past it. His family scrolled past it. Because the man right next to it on the feed was posting pictures of his kids in their Easter outfits. Because the man right next to it was doing daddy-daughter dates. You don't think a man like that is about to snap. You just don't. The court date was hanging over him. The custody battle was real, and somewhere inside that head of his, the head that had worn a uniform for 7 years, the head that had fired shots near a school back in 2019 and got away with probation, the head that was praying online one day and posting burger photos the next. A decision was getting made. Not a crime of passion, not a snap. A decision. Saturday night, the children went to bed. Most of them fell asleep together. Cousins and siblings curled up the way kids do when there's a house full. Their mother was in the home. Their cousin was in the home. Outside, Cedar Grove was doing what it always did on a Saturday night. Cars settled on the street, television shut off. The block went quiet. Nobody on that street had any idea that Shamar Elkins was about to do something Shreveport had never seen before. 5 o'clock in the morning, Sunday, April 19th. Cedar Grove is asleep. The first scene was not on West 79th Street. It was on Harrison Street, at the home where his girlfriend was. According to police, Shamar Elkins went there first. He shot her, multiple times, critically. She was still breathing when officers finally got to her, but the rounds he put in her were the kind you have to fight for hours to survive. He left her there, alive, but barely.
Damn.
Then he got in a vehicle
Damn.
and he drove. Harrison Street to the
Damn,
300
bro.
block of West 79th Street, about a quarter mile. 5 minutes at that hour with no traffic. A quarter mile between the 2 women in his life and the 8 children about to die in between. He walked into that house on West 79th. His wife was there, the mother of most of his children. He shot her in the face, and then he kept going. The children were asleep. According to the Shreveport police spokesperson, most of the children appear to have been shot in their sleep, shot in the head, one after another, a small caliber handgun in his hand. 7 little bodies: Jayla, 3, Shayla, 5, Braylon, 5, Kayla, 6, Kadarian, 6, Layla, 7,
Come
Mark
on,
Hayden,
man.
10, Soraya, 11.
We began with a community grieving after a mass shooting in Louisiana. 10 people were shot and
Boy, that give me chills, man. That give me the chills, because I ain't no telling how long she been with this man or been dealing with this or that. Bro, y'all could have found some type of time to talk about that, bro. Could have found you a counselor or something, man. Whatever was going on, bro. Need somebody to talk to. And everybody, come on, man. Them kids ain't had nothing to do with it. Nothing with you, bro. Bro, man, even your wife, bro, she ain't had nothing to do with it either, bro. Whatever was going on, like, you're supposed to talk to her, bro. Find you a counselor or something, somebody to talk to, a military friend that you were close with that might be, you know what I'm saying, that can relate to you or something, bro. It was other avenues. You could have reached out other than just posting on social media, bro. You could have picked the phone up and called somebody, my boy. Come on, man.
Shreveport. 8 were killed, all of them children. The gunman also dead. Police say the attacks happened at 2 homes. CBS's Jason Allen is there for us tonight with the details. Jason.
Jarika, good evening. People are still filling the Shreveport neighborhood tonight, emotional and upset over this shooting that happened both at this house behind me and another one just up the road. And police told me in the last hour it was a survivor of the shooting who escaped and called them to tell them about it. Just after 6 o'clock this morning, when police got here, they found 10 people had been shot, 8 of them had been killed, and as you mentioned, all 8 of those were children. Police also confirming for me that at least 7 of those 8 children were the children of the shooter, who they identified as Shamar Elkins. After the shooting, police say that Elkins carjacked someone just down the street, got into a pursuit with police, stopped. They say he produced a handgun and police officers shot him there at the scene. Louisiana State Police tonight are also involved in this investigation.
This is a tragic situation.
Then you turn around and get shot by the police. So she's still living and could potentially make it, and gotta live with the fact that you killed all their kids, all y'all kids, because she wanted to separate from you. Or you had no mental health issues, no problem, none of that until she decided that she didn't want to be with you no more. Now you got mental health issues and all of this now, bro. To the point where you killing the kids and trying to kill her. This ain't nothing about nobody over the post he posted. Nah, nah.
The worst tragic situation we've ever had in Shreveport.
I don't know what people think in the crevices of their mind to want to harm another human being, let alone that of children who have their whole life ahead of them.
Just
The
retarded.
police spokesperson had to stand at a podium later that day and describe what his officers walked into.
This is entirely a domestic incident. So the suspect shot the mother of the child for children first, then responded to this location and shot 8 children, 7 of which being his own. There was an additional child at this residence that was not akin to him. However, we're still working on relationships and whose parents were whose. But
Bro,
it's a
just
very
straight goofy,
hectic
man.
scene. There's a lot to
Retarded.
investigate, a lot to unpack,
Shout out
and
to
we
my
want to do the
man that
best we
said,
can to come up with a clear time.
shout out to my guy Mac Moolah, man, when he said y'all niggas off the short bus, bro. Man, y'all niggas off the short bus for real, fool. Like, that's crazy. Man, that's crazy, bro. Crazy work.
Timeline, a clear reasoning, even though cases like this, the reasoning will never be fully understood. We were contacted for the shooting. Our officers responded, located the scene, located the 8 individuals, the children that were dead, and they tried to provide aid where they could, but ultimately were unable to save any of them. There was a child that jumped off the roof. We were able to get him to a hospital, and he is expected to survive. There's also 2 adult females that were injured during this mass shooting. They are both in critical condition. We are hopeful that they will survive. One is significantly more critical than the other. So we all keeping their families in our thoughts and prayers.
He didn't reach for poetry. He said the scene was disgusting and evil. He's been a cop a long time. He'd never seen anything like this. One child tried to get out, climbed up onto the roof of the house next door, trying to hide. I'm trying to disappear, trying to be anywhere else on earth. He got shot on that roof, and his little body stayed up there until the sun came up and officers started trying to figure out where everybody was. A teenager, separate from the 8 children killed, was also at the scene that morning. That teenager tried to escape, fell off a roof trying to get away, ended up with non-life-threatening injuries, police said, alive. But that teenager saw and heard things that no human being should ever have to carry, and is going to carry them for the rest of a long life. Right around 6 a.m., the first 911 call came in. Reports of a domestic disturbance in the 300 block of West 79th Street. Officers started rolling toward the address. By the time the first Shreveport police units pulled up, Shamar Elkins was gone. Outside, near the intersection of Linwood Avenue and West 79th, he did the next thing on his list. He carjacked somebody, took the car, drove off into the morning. Behind him, in that house, 7 children were dead in their beds. 1 was dead on a neighbor's roof. 2 women were bleeding out in 2 separate homes. A teenager was on the ground outside. And the first officer to walk through that front door on West 79th Street was about to see something that will be in his nightmares until the day he dies. The scene that greeted officers that morning was not one scene, it was 4. Harrison Street, West 79th Street, the streets in between where a carjacking had happened, and a place still miles away where the ending was still coming. Shreveport police called it an extensive scene unlike anything most of them had ever worked. And Chief Wayne Smith stood at a press conference that morning and told reporters he just did not know what to say. His heart was taken aback. He could not begin to imagine how something like this could happen. The Caddo Parish Coroner's Office moved in. They had 8 children to identify. The job fell, the way it always does in cases like this, to the mothers. 2 mothers had to walk into that building and look at their babies and say the names out loud. Jayla, Shayla, Kayla, Layla, Markaden, Saraya, Kadarian, Braylon. 3 boys, 5 girls, ages 3 to 11. Inside the house, detectives were piecing together the sequence. Which room each child had been in, where each shell casing had landed, which doors were touched, which doors were skipped. They determined that the small caliber handgun Shamar Elkins used in most of the shooting wasn't his only weapon that night. When he finally confronted police later that morning, he was holding what officers described as a rifle-style pistol. Assault-style. Different weapon. Heavier firepower. This was not a man who was unprepared. This was a man who walked out of his house that morning with more than one gun on him, knowing exactly what he was about to do. The detectives will spend months trying to answer the question that every grieving person in Shreveport is asking. How? How does a father get to a place where he puts a pistol to his children's heads while they're sleeping? How does a man who posted a daddy-daughter date post on Saturday afternoon end 8 children's lives on Sunday morning? They don't have a clean answer. Nobody ever does. Shamar Elkins never saw a courtroom for this. He never faced a jury, never heard the charges read out loud. After the carjacking, he drove out of Shreveport and into Bossier Parish. Louisiana law enforcement picked up the chase. They knew who he was. They knew what he had just done. When you are hunting a man who just killed 8 children, the chase does not end easy. It ended on the 400 block of Brompton Lane in Bossier City. Officers confronted him. Shots were fired on both sides. When the gunfire stopped, Shamar Elkins was dead in the street. 3 officers had discharged their weapons. At first, the assumption was that police gunfire brought him down. Then came the honest admission from Shreveport police. It is unclear whether Shamar Elkins died at the hands of the officers or whether he ended things himself with that rifle-style pistol. Louisiana State Police was brought in to investigate the shooting of Elkins. That's standard any time officers are involved in a death.
Oh, so he
Shreveport police said nothing suggests any wrongdoing by the officers who responded. No officers were harmed in that final exchange. That was the one piece of anything close to good news that came out of Cedar Grove that day. And just like that, it was over. The man was dead. The children were dead. 2 women were in hospital beds fighting to survive. A teenager was being treated for injuries from a fall, and a whole city was waking up to a story that none of them were ready to hear. Shreveport had never seen anything like this. Not ever. City Councilman Grayson Boucher said that morning that the killings had more than doubled the city's homicides for the entire year. In a single morning, 1 man, 1 house. More than half of the city's murders for all of 2026. Mayor Tom Arsenault called it maybe the worst tragic situation Shreveport had ever had. The House Speaker, whose congressional district covers that neighborhood, called it heartbreaking. The governor of Louisiana said he and his wife were heartbroken. Everybody with a microphone said all the right words. The problem with the right words is that the right words don't bring 8 children back. Here's what this case keeps coming back to. Over 30% of the crimes in Shreveport are domestic. Over 30% of the murders in Shreveport are domestic. Domestic violence is not a private matter. It never was. It began between 2 adults in a failing marriage, and it ended with 8 caskets small enough to be carried by 1 pallbearer each. Shamar Elkins had given us a warning. Back in 2019, he fired a gun near a school full of children. The system gave him 18 months of probation and let him walk. For the next 7 years, he lived in that same community, raised those same children, and kept access to those same kinds of weapons. Nobody went back to check. Nobody revisited him. Nobody asked if the man who shot near a school might one day be the man who would shoot at a child. He told us 10 days before the killings that something was wrong. He posted about his mental health, about prayer. We all scrolled past it. Not because we didn't care, Because there are 10 posts like that in every feed every day, and we have all learned to keep moving. That has to change. If you are in a relationship where the anger is getting louder, where the control is getting tighter, where the threats are starting to feel real, please get out. Call somebody. Tell somebody. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. It doesn't matter what time it is. It doesn't matter how small the thing feels. Make the call. If you are the friend or the family or the neighbor of somebody who is in a situation like that, don't assume somebody else is going to step in. Don't assume the Easter photo means
No, you're gonna have to
everything is
reach
fine at
out.
home. Don't assume the daddy-daughter date post means the house is safe. Sometimes the loudest cry for help is the quietest post on a Tuesday afternoon. 8 children went to bed on a Saturday night in a neighborhood called Cedar Grove. 8 children did not wake up on Sunday morning. The youngest of them was 3 years old. Say their names. Jayla, Shayla, Kayla, Layla, Markaden, Soraya, Kadarian, Braylon. Before you go, I need you to do 3 things for those babies. Number 1, if you have not already, subscribe to Trending Tragedies and ring that notification bell so the next story we tell on this channel lands in your feed the day it drops. Number 2, drop a candle emoji in the comments. 1 candle for each of those 8 children, 1 for every one of them whose name deserves to be read today. Number 3, share this video. Send it to a friend, a sister, a coworker, a neighbor, somebody who might be in a house right now where something is starting to feel wrong. You never know whose life a share like that might save. Tell somebody you love that you love them tonight, because tomorrow is promised to nobody, not
Big
even to
fact.
8 little children in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Yeah, man. That's a sad story. It's been coming across my feed for a minute. I'm probably a little late on it, but covered it. Um, wow. Yeah, tell somebody you love them. Like, hug your people, check on your people. Make sure that we checking in with our people daily on just more than just, how you doing, how you feeling, like really sit down and have some conversations with people. And as I'm saying that, it's something I need to do a little better too. That you just never know. You never know. Oh yeah. Until next time, y'all like, comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so when you get your boy notification, you can pull up and hit the live. Until then, y'all be good.